Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe my channel. The morning mist clung to the long walk with the tenacity of a secret. Within the tassel, a different kind of haze lingered, one of memory and ambition. In a sunlit private office that overlooked the immaculate gardens, a quiet but firm request had been made, sending ripples through the ancient stone corridors. The house in question, Frogmore Cottage, stood empty. Its recent history was a modern fable of love, flight, and reinvention. For a time, it had been a sanctuary, filled with a scent of fresh paint and new beginnings. Now it was silent, its rooms holding only the ghost of a recent, controversial chapter. It was this silence that a senior member of the family sought to fill. The Duke of York found the Royal Lodge, his home for decades, increasingly ill-suited to his new circumscribed life. It was a monument to a past that the public, and the institution itself, seemed determined to forget. Its vastness, once a symbol of status, now felt like an anchor. He desired a change, a relocation to a property that was both secure and symbolically potent. Frogmore, nestled within the protective embrace of the Windsor estate, represented a fresh start, a chance to step out of a long shadow and into a quieter, more private light. The request, however, was not a simple matter of real estate. It was a delicate chess move on the board of royal dynamics. To some aides, it seemed a practical solution. The property was crown property, maintained at public expense, and its vacancy was an inefficiency. Why not have it occupied by a family member who required its unique seclusion and security? But to others, the move was fraught with unspoken implications. The cottage was inextricably linked to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It had been their UK home, the place they had fought for and lovingly restored. To reassign it, especially to another senior royal navigating his own complex relationship with the crown, was seen as profoundly symbolic. It would be an erasure, a physical overwriting of one narrative with another. The news, as it always did, found its way to California. In the sunny tranquility of Montecito, the reaction was a complex blend of pragmatism and melancholy. The house was, after all, just a house. They had built a new life an ocean away, one filled with the joyful chaos of their children and the freedom to shape their own destiny. They had no claim on it, no desire to return. And yet, it had been their home. The walls had witnessed their most intimate moments, the quiet hopes, the whispered fears, the laughter that echoed in the garden where their son had taken his first steps. The idea of another, particularly the uncle with whom they shared a complicated and distant history, occupying those same spaces, felt like a final, definitive closing of a door they had already walked through. It was a confirmation that their old life was not just behind them, but was being actively repurposed. Back in Windsor, the senior courtiers deliberated. The king was faced with a decision that balanced cold logistics against warm human sentiment. He was a man caught between his role as the head of a millennia-old institution and his heart as a father and a brother. One brother sought a refuge, a place to live out his days in necessary seclusion. His son, though physically distant, still held an emotional tether to that same place. The decision, when it was finally reached, was a masterpiece of royal compromise, acknowledging both need and nuance. The Duke would be granted the use of Frogmore Cottage, but with the clear, unspoken understanding that it was a practical arrangement, not a symbolic victory. The king ensured that his son's few remaining personal effects were carefully packed and shipped to California, a small but significant gesture of respect for the past. Months later, the Duke moved in. The cottage felt different. The furniture was rearranged, the art on the walls was from a different era, the air smelled of old books and polish instead of baby lotion and new upholstery. He walked through the rooms, a solitary figure in a house with a crowded history. He found a strange peace there, the high walls shielding him from the glare he no longer courted. One evening, he stood in the garden, looking out at the same view of the castle his nephew and his wife had once seen. He understood then that a house is more than bricks and mortar. It is a vessel for stories. Frogmore Cottage now held his, a story of fall from grace and quiet retirement. But layered beneath it, like a palimpsest, were the other stories, of a fairy tale that fractured, of a desperate bid for freedom, of a young family's beginning. The house held them all, a silent, steadfast keeper of secrets. The changing of the guard was complete, but the echoes of the past remained, whispering on the breeze that rustled through the ancient oaks of Windsor Home Park.